what that got to do with Kendrick?
Well, I'm not saying it
Got
has
shot
anything to
where?
do.
In Cap?
What started as just another lyrical showdown has now turned into something far more sinister. Kendrick Lamar barely escaped a murder attempt, and all signs are pointing straight at Drake. With federal heat closing in, this could mark the beginning of a long sentence and the end of Drake's empire. Let's break down exactly how this beef turned blood red. The tension between Kendrick and Drake has been brewing for more than 10 years. But when it finally erupted, it wasn't just rap, it was war. The spark? Believe it or not, it came from J. Cole trying to be the voice of peace, calling Drake, Kendrick, and himself the Big Three on first-person shooter. But Kendrick wasn't buying it. That crown? He wasn't sharing. Then came the moment that flipped everything. March 2024. Kendrick Lamar set the internet on fire with his verse on Like That from Future and Metro Boomin's project. He torched the whole Big Three narrative, spitting, "Motherf asterisk 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 the Big Three, it's just Big Me." And that wasn't just a jab at Drake. That was a full-on declaration of war. Drake responded with push-ups and a controversial tailor-made freestyle that used AI-generated voices of Tupac and Snoop Dogg. He thought he had the upper hand. But what he didn't realize was that Kendrick was only loading the clip. April 30th, 2024, Euphoria dropped. And it wasn't a song. It was a lyrical execution. 6 minutes of pure venom produced by Soundwave and Jack Antonoff. Kendrick ripped into Drake's image, his authenticity, his fatherhood, his corny fashion sense, even calling out his casual use of the N-word. But real ones knew that was just the warm-up.
Speaking on people writing for Drake. Beam is a producer and a songwriter. He also called out Drake's using AI diss to diss him in the tailor-made.
In Euphoria, Kendrick calls Drake a master manipulator and a serial liar, mocking his involvement with the HBO show Euphoria and using it as a metaphor for his fake persona. And still, he was just getting started.
616 right after Euphoria. We weren't expecting that just because of the way Kendrick puts out music. We wasn't expecting a back-to-back. Right. Then Drake comes with...
Just a few days later, Kendrick lit up the game again with 616 in LA. It wasn't just a song, it was intel. He claimed that members of Drake's own OVO crew were leaking info to him. And the track title? A direct shot, biting Drake's iconic timestamp style to prove he could do it better. But then, May 3rd hit, and the game changed forever. That night showed just how far two lyrical killers were willing to go to prove dominance. Drake struck first with Family Matters, an 8-minute diss track complete with a full-blown video. And it was nasty. He accused Kendrick of physically abusing his longtime partner Whitney Alford and claimed Kendrick cheated on her. The ugliest part? He hinted that one of Kendrick's kids might actually belong to his business partner, Dave Free.
Less than 30 minutes, Kendrick stepped on that record with his own record about Drake's family, Meet the Grams. Then Kendrick turned around and did what we was waiting on Drake to do, and that's give us a diss bop.
But Kendrick was locked and loaded. Less than 20 minutes after Family Matters dropped, he fired back with Meet the Grams. And it wasn't a diss, it was psychological destruction. He addressed it directly to Drake's entire family, his mother, father, son Adonis, and even a supposed daughter that might not exist. He told them point-blank that their beloved Drake was a liar and a predator. He wanted the whole world to see behind the curtain.
The Meet the Grams record, when he started writing letters to his mom, his dad, and his kids, I said, we got to fight now. We got to fight.
Yo, he literally says to his mom on the record, your son should die.
The artwork for the track, a black glove, a twisted nod to the O.J. Simpson trial. And the title, a play on Drake's government name, Aubrey Graham, like a personal letter of condemnation. It was chess, not checkers. And Kendrick wasn't done yet. Because the next day, May 4th, he dropped a record that would shatter the internet and send real hitters to Drake's front door. That track was Not Like Us, produced by DJ Mustard. And it wasn't just a diss track. It was a cultural moment, a warning shot, a citywide siren. Kendrick accused Drake of being a predator and a culture thief, a colonizer stealing black culture for clout. The cover art showed Drake's Toronto mansion marked with red, it's like a predator registry. And in the video, Kendrick smashed an owl piñata, a direct blow to the OVO logo. The West Coast was on fire. This track didn't just trend. It became a movement. It had that classic bounce, that West Coast knock, and went straight to #1 with over 21 million streams in 72 hours. It would eventually climb past 1 billion. But more than numbers, it unified the West. The entire West Coast was now looking at Drake like the enemy. And what followed wasn't just lyrical anymore.
Somebody said that they said this on Joe Budden's podcast. When HBCUs start playing it at fucking homecoming,
Yeah,
and shit,
exactly.
it's imbued in our psyche.
Drake tried to save face on May 5th by dropping the Heart Part 6. He came out swinging, denying every accusation Kendrick threw at him, especially the claims of being a predator. He said if any of it were true, he'd already be behind bars. Then, in a strange twist, Drake claimed he had actually baited Kendrick with fake info, like the story about his secret daughter, just to see if he'd take the bait.
It's not going to take me almost 2 days to reply to Meet the Grams and Not Like Us.
Maybe not. I think you've
No.
given Kendrick benefit of the doubt.
But the damage was already done. Fans could smell the desperation. Critics pointed out how defensive and drained Drake sounded, like the fight had already left him. The streets had made their choice, and it sure wasn't the boy from Toronto. But this is where things took a turn from music beef to real-life danger. Because what started as bars and beats was about to trigger bullets. 3 days after Not Like Us dropped, May 7th, 2024, reality hit hard. Real hitters pulled up to Drake's mansion in Toronto and sprayed bullets like it was straight out of Grand Theft Auto. This wasn't some harmless fan stunt. This was a full-on drive-by with deadly intent. Someone screamed Drake at the gate, and then all hell broke loose. Multiple shots were fired. One bullet smashed into the mansion's front door. Another hit one of Drake's security guards badly. He was bleeding out on the pavement while Drake's team scrambled to keep him alive for nearly 30 minutes, using towels to plug the wounds until paramedics arrived. That's not rap beef. That's attempted murder.
It was Sluggo who told me that one of them, I think it must have been Drake who was talking about his, he dissed him by talking about his size 7 feet or something, right? And that's fine. I think it's great. If everybody would just if the Israelis and Hamas would go after each other in song.
Battle raps.
Yeah, battle raps. Yeah,
Why not?
And it didn't stop there. The very next day, another lunatic tried to break into Drake's property by digging under the dam's security fence. When guards caught him, he was shouting racist slurs and violent threats before they finally dragged him off the grounds. Then on May 9th, round 3, another trespasser showed up and got into a full-blown fistfight with Drake's security team. He was arrested and rushed to the hospital. Police claimed they couldn't link these incidents directly to the Kendrick beef. But let's be real. That timing? Too perfect. Just days after Not Like Us called Drake a predator and showed his house on the cover art with reds like registry markers, and suddenly armed men and maniacs are pulling up? That's not coincidence. That's fallout. At this point, the hip-hop community had to face some ugly truths. When lyrical warfare crosses the line, real people bleed. And while Drake was dodging bullets and lawsuits, Kendrick was busy doing victory laps. Because on June 19th, 2024, Kendrick Lamar pulled off one of the most savage flexes in hip-hop history. He headlined the pop-out concert at the Kia Forum in Inglewood and performed Not Like Us.
Right after that interview, I had never heard of him before. They had a mixtape that was just kind of buzzing in Atlanta. Birthday bash happened a couple days later. They ran into Drake. Drake had heard the mixtape. He jumped on Versace.
Not once, not twice, but 5 times in a row. And every time he did, the crowd went crazier. Dr. Dre, YG, and other West Coast legends stood behind him in unity, proving the West had chosen sides. Interview, 7:15 to 7:27. That concert felt like a coronation, a cultural funeral for Drake's legacy. Everyone could see it, the industry had shifted. And here's what made it even more brutal. Half the artists who owed Drake their careers were now standing with Kendrick. Interview, 7:45 to 8:05. It didn't matter that Drake had blessed them with features, cosigns, and cash. When it came time to pick a side, they chose the man from Compton. That betrayal? that had to cut deep.
You would think, now, granted, they don't have to.
Let me ask you, do you think Drake needed help?
It's not that he needed help.
He didn't need no help.
It's not that he needed help, but like everyone's doing a victory lap with Kendrick, whereas all the people, and none of the people that were there with Kendrick, did Kendrick transform their lives by doing features for them.
Not Like Us didn't just win the internet. It devoured the 2025 Grammys. February 2nd, Kendrick walked away with 5 trophies: Record of the Year, Song of the Year, Best Rap Song, Best Rap Performance, and Best Music Video. No diss track in history had ever come close to that kind of acclaim. But the final stomp on Drake's pride came 1 week later, the Super Bowl halftime show in New Orleans on February 9th, 2025. There, in front of 133.5 million people, Kendrick Lamar performed Not Like Us and brought out Serena Williams, who famously used to date Drake.
With certain people, we're witnessing this as we speak. When you start puffing on the wrong cigar, smoke will come. We watch old Puff Daddy play with the wrong people, right? And we watch something get exaggerated to a point to where what people chose to do is now a federal case.
The legal battle raised some real questions about our
to dance center stage. Yeah, that wasn't just a flex. That was a funeral. While the world crowned Kendrick, Drake was quietly cooking up something of his own. Not in the studio, but in the courtroom. Because what he did next could shake the entire music industry to its core. On January 15th, 2025, Drake filed a monstrous 81-page federal lawsuit. Not against Kendrick, but against their shared label, Universal Music Group. He accused UMG of defamation and harassment, claiming they helped promote Not Like Us even though they knew it contained lies, including the claims that Drake was a predator and a trafficker. The lawsuit argued that UMG's involvement directly triggered the violence he experienced, from the drive-by at his home to the back-to-back trespassing attempts. But that wasn't even the most shocking part. Because buried deep in that lawsuit was a chilling accusation that Not Like Us wasn't just a song, it was a weapon. A weapon that nearly got Drake killed.
Yeah, top 5 in the street, presser, bun, fuck Drake, he got real over there. Top, he got real over there, but them ain't.
Drake's lawyers claimed the track was designed to inspire vigilante justice. The cover art? Intentionally showing his mansion with predator-style reds to rile up the streets. They even accused UMG of using illegal bot farms and promotional tools to blow up the song's reach, making it a cultural grenade with deadly consequences. If proven in court, this would be the first time a diss track was classified as an incitement to attempted murder. Drake's legal team was playing chess, not checkers. Instead of going directly after Kendrick, they went for the deep pockets.
What that got to do with Kendrick?
Targeting Universal Music Group and accusing them of putting profit over safety. The claim? That UMG used bot farms, paid radio deals, and boosted Not Like Us using shady promo tactics, all while knowing the song carried dangerous, false accusations. But behind the corporate lingo was one loud message. UMG didn't just promote a diss track.
And I'm saying that outside of the creative Kendrick rap battle. Actually, let's not even go any further without just...
They helped unleash chaos that led directly to the May 7th shooting outside Drake's mansion. Then, in February 2025, Drake's lawyers hit even harder, updating the lawsuit to include Kendrick's Grammy sweep and the Super Bowl performance. They claimed UMG leaned into those moments to make the song feel more like truth than art, turning opinion into fact for millions of viewers and putting Drake in even more danger. UMG wasn't having it. They fired back with a motion to dismiss in March 2025.
I heard it talking to barbershop all the time is who's the greatest, me, Jigga, or Nas, or something like that. You know, and then he mentions Eminem, Andre 3000, and he says, the rest of y'all are just new dudes. Just don't even get involved in this. And he never...
Calling the whole thing a PR stunt. Their statement? Drake participated willingly in a lyrical war. Now he's trying to sue because he lost. They argued that all they did was promote a record-breaking track and do their job. But behind closed doors, labels were nervous. Because if Drake actually wins this lawsuit, it could flip the industry upside down. Labels could suddenly become legally responsible for pushing diss tracks, especially ones that hint at serious accusations like abuse or criminal behavior. Interview. 11:32 to 11:52. Now the whole culture is asking, where's the line between bars and bullets? Between art and accountability? Fans were split. Some were hyped that real rap beef was finally back with teeth.
Let people know. The funny thing is, and I've been realizing about Kendrick. Kendrick is he's lacked the level of respect or even handle these guys like with any type of decorum. I mean, he's been doing it since.
Others were shook at how close it came to costing someone their life. Interview, 12:14 to 12:25. And technology only made things worse. Fans were labeling Drake's Toronto home on Google Maps with clown tags like "owned by Kendrick," quoting the track's lyrics. The song's virality meant its most dangerous claims reached millions within hours. And even as the court battle raged on, the real-world tension stayed hot. Top 5, a Toronto rapper known to roll with Drake, publicly threatened Kendrick during an interview, saying, "If he comes to Toronto, I'll shoot him."
Drake's on the radio, right? So Drake was like, yeah, run into the guy. He's like, it's not that serious. A couple other people respond. He don't respond to them. So I'm like, all right, he's making a moment.
Kendrick ain't nobody, bro. We watched him get mushed in the face and kicked in. But then Kendrick did the unthinkable. He announced he was bringing his tour with SZA straight into the Lion's Den, Toronto, on June 12th at the Rogers Centre. Right in Drake's backyard. No fear. No hesitation. Just one message. I go wherever I want. And so far, the show is still on. No cancellation. No interference. Nothing from Drake or his camp has stopped the performance, and that says a lot about who really holds power in Toronto right now. The biggest questions from this entire nightmare still hang in the air. Who pulled the trigger on May 7th? Why did they yell Drake's name before firing? Was it just coincidence?
The little brother, so to speak, the middle child, trying to keep his hands around the two other brothers that really want to go at it. And he's been saying this big three this whole time. Yo, it's big three, it's us, it's us, it's us. Like Kendrick never looked at the whole time was like, who's?
Or was Not Like Us more than music? Interview, 1346 to 1352. The lawsuit is still moving through the courts, and UMG's motion to throw it out hasn't been decided yet. Whatever the verdict, it could change everything, forcing labels to rethink how they promote aggressive music and whether they're ready to take the fall when lyrics spill into street violence. But regardless of what happens in court, one thing's already certain. This Drake versus Kendrick saga has rewritten the rulebook of hip-hop beef forever. People are already calling it this generation's Tupac versus Biggie or Jay-Z versus Nas. But unlike those past rivalries, this one's playing out in real time, with lawsuits, stadium tours, shooting investigations, and half the industry choosing sides. It's no longer just about bars. It's about survival. It's about power. It's about who the culture believes. And from where we're sitting, Kendrick Lamar isn't just winning. He might have just ended the reign of the biggest name in the game. Interview, 1421 to 1429. This beef didn't just shake the industry. It exposed the raw power and deadly risks of modern hip-hop. It showed how fast a few bars can spiral into life-or-death chaos when platforms, streaming, and social media amplify every word globally within seconds. But to really understand how this lyrical war turned criminal, how two icons went from brothers to battlefield generals, we gotta rewind. Because this isn't just about 2024. This story's been in motion for over a decade. Before the bullets, lawsuits, and murder allegations, the tension between Drake and Kendrick Lamar began with something else: mutual respect. Back in 2011, Drake was already raking in millions off hits, and Kendrick was just a hungry young poet out of Compton, trying to climb out the mud. And instead of dissing each other, they were building. In fact, they collaborated heavy in the early days. Kendrick featured on Drake's Take Care album with that haunting Buried Alive interlude, where he opened up about the dynamic between them. Then came Poetic Justice, Problems, and multiple joints in 2012 that proved they weren't just cool, they were allies. Kendrick even opened for Drake on the Club Paradise tour. They were locked in. But real ones know, in hip-hop, loyalty flips quicker than a brick when egos get involved.